Hey nerds! So, I'm just gonna talk about this because I keep getting asked about it, and it's something that whenever there's a new banner and it's, barely a few days into it, people always speculate what the next one's gonna be. But technically, we have a pattern to follow, we have something we can kind of look at to see what's in the future, and we can already kind of guess what's coming. So, before we're like, oh man, there's more Sacred Stones characters coming, right? Well, based on these leaks here, again, in case you didn't remember, the Quick Play or Quick Battle app, I forget, website, it's not even an app. It had two models in there, one for the Black Knight and one for Nefini, whatever shade of color you want to call that name. The double E's always ruins me, but still, two characters from the Radiance saga of games, which is Ike's games. They were seen in there, and then of course the Black Knight was also a big portion of the live action trailer over on the Nintendo Mobile channel. And, well, we kind of can tell what's going to happen here, at least from what we can kind of piece together. Unless, of course, the right is something else completely. Left side is probably going to be the Grand Hero Battle. No shocker there. Because it typically hosts villains, and the Black Knight is obviously a villain. He shows up outside of houses and, just busts out of a house and scares the crap out of you. That's his methods of madness. And then also on the right, possibly, at least maybe, we have a Tempest Trial character. If we could put it together, in any form, that might be a possibility, or it might be a character from, well, a banner. Because we've had patterns before, we've gone through them before, when it comes to characters, at least when it comes to, well, banners, new characters. Right now, of course, we have Brave Heroes, but that's going to be ending in 11 days, and people are already speculating, well, it follows the pattern, because before then, before Narcian, we of course had Valter, who was a new one. And Valter, before that, had a banner that focused on Sacred Stones characters, new Sacred Stone characters to be exact. And then before then we had Berkut, and Berkut had, of course, banners based around Valentia. So, the obvious question then becomes, well, does that mean we're going to be getting a Radiance-based banner? Radiance-based banner, I'm just going to say that over and over again. And the simple thing I can probably think of is, yeah, most likely, because they did show off a map, kind of, in the trailer. It's really hard to pull that out of there because it's really blurry. I didn't want to bother. They showed off a map of the Black Knight, and it looks like he's going to be, at least from what we can tell, a Grand Hero Battle. And, yeah, that's a giveaway, in some sense. So, we now have to look at the characters from Radiance and see which ones we would want. And people keep pulling out certain characters and going, I want that one. This will be so cool if this gets into the game. And, I get asked the question, since we know the Black Knight's coming and most likely a Radiance banner is as well, what characters would I want? And, people come to me with their list of characters and they're always like, well, which one do you think will come? And there's always a certain type of, well, not enemies, type of unit that I pull out of that and just go, this is not going to happen unless they change the fundamentals of the game in some form. And of course I'm talking about Laguz. Because right now, in the game as it stands, Laguz are not possible. At least not possible without changing how they function, or changing, potentially, how weapons in this game function, because, of course, we have the color triangle, and the color triangle consists of 3 typings within those. That, of course, is lance, or, well, the main weapon, which is lance, axe, sword, and then, of course, the tomes, and then, finally, these typings here. Whenever I bring up the point that Laguz probably couldn't work because we don't have a weapon typing for them, they always point out, well, these are dragon stones. Well, no, technically these weapon typings that Ninian, Tiki, all the dragons use, it's technically classified as breath in the data. They're, a breath attack. They're dragons. They use breath for their attacks. But, I get the idea they do use stones to transform into dragons. Unfortunately, Laguz, and, this spans other characters as well, I'm trying to think. I think it was, Tagul, I forget which one it was from Awakening, and then Fates had the Kitsune and the Wolfskin. they could all transform into creatures that weren't just dragons. So the question then becomes, well, what exactly does that mean? Well, right now, just simply that, we don't have any sort of place to put them unless something changes. Now, that doesn't mean that it isn't possible, because it just means that they need to do a few things. And the few things that they could do is, one, they just do a summon banner, they add in Laguz, but they put them within the, the spectrum that they're already in and kind of bastardize them a bit. And I know that probably sounds really stupid, but, we've had other bastardizations of characters that technically didn't fit the whole spectrum, and technically you could probably get away with, putting one of the, Laguz in a different sort of setting and work with that. But when it comes to any of this, well, we do need to possibly consider adding just another weapon typing to the colors, or maybe something to the colorless as well, because, well, we just don't have room for them. There's just not possibilities unless, I don't know, maybe you technically count their claws or their certain weapons as, a sword or a lance or something. I mean, that could work. Chances are, though, if they were going to add... I mean, I'm not saying that, Laguz and any of the other transforming characters are not a possibility, because technically they are. They can very well fit in if they just, trying to put this into words. I mean, they could work. It's just that I feel that if they want to do them right, and I'm sure that that's what IS wants to do, they probably won't do it unless they add a little bit to it, to the system we have right now, because, well, as you can tell, it's all based around this, We have the melee units, the heavy mage units, and then, of course, the specialty kind of dragon units that also fit in the bill, and we're not even talking about colorless. Because they're weird. They're the cool hip club that no one wants to hang around. But I'm really hoping that if they do Laguz, which I'm pretty sure they're not going to be doing that, they're not going to be focusing on those characters right now, because it's probably just easier not to deal with that right now, and put in some new characters that people really do love from the Radiance games that aren't necessarily having to change a little bit more of the game than they're comfortable with right now. Not saying that that's not a future possibility, but right now, yeah. Oh boy. I mean, I hate shooting people down. Someone also put in, I think someone, I forget what they said, but they were like, oh, well, all the Laguz, there's 3 types of them, couldn't we just splay them out between, different the different colors? And I'm just like, well, yeah, but I'm pretty sure one of the Laguz is dragon, so they technically have to be within that little sphere as well. And it's just not an easy situation right now, and I don't know how exactly you can overcome that without, just doing one thing or another. Now, I'm not saying it's difficult, it's going to be overly difficult, because, I mean, technically, tomes and dragon stones, they're the same things, just different colors. And you could technically do the same thing with a beast stone as well. You don't have to keep it, you don't have to change it or accent it or add anything really, because, let's face it, who cares? Outside of the spear, the axe, and the, sword, it really just boils down to color and who has what over who. So you don't really need to worry too much about that. Technically, they could just add in a beast stone to every color and just call it a day. Except colorless, of course. Too cool. Remember, they're the hipsters who, drink coffee and just hang out, and Bride Delia's there shooting people. Usually. But honestly, right now, unless that changes into the future, we're not going to have it. And, ISS changes things exponentially, so it could happen. Next banner, next big update, that could be like, okay, we're gonna add this weapon type or something like that, and I'll just be like, okay, well, I guess we know what's coming. But, well, I'm just gonna say right now, don't put your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up for a Laguz just yet, or any transforming characters, because, well, we right now in the system that it is, we just kind of don't have classification for them. It's probably something that's an easy fix, but here's hoping, right? I mean, I'm ready. Who are you looking forward to? Because chances are there's going to be a Radiance banner. Most likely. Most definitely, actually. And I would love to hear your input on this, guys. So, bug me in the comments, and I'll talk to you there. Bye-bye.